What I got so far is a document that, well, this is where I want to go, and what I have so far is this guy. So you could see that one of the key differences over here is that the container that I have holding all of my content is centered. And actually, to center things with CSS is not as intuitive as it should be. I mean, you almost feel like there should be, a line center and that's going to do it, but it's actually not going to do it. What you need to do is define margins for this thing because the margin affects the distance between the what is this? The border of the container to the Chrome is going to be. That's its margin from there. And CSS has a way to do automatic margins. So for this technique, little less intuitive, but if you want to center div containers like these, you employ basically a technique that you provide auto margins to the left and to the right. And we'll do just that. If I click on the container class and I go to, I believe it's, let's see, box over here. Here we go. I have an option for padding and margin. So in my margin, what I want to do, I want to unclick the same for all, and to the left and to the right, I'm going to define something. If we look to the left, we have auto. If you look to the right, we have auto. And if I apply it, all of a sudden, there she is. And that's the code that it generated, margin right and left with a value of auto. And if I save this and I refresh that page, there we go. So basically, the automatic margins to the left and to the right is exactly what's happening here. All this greenish space over here is the automatic margin. It's just saying, give this thing a margin of however big the browser is. Now, this auto margin left and right doesn't work alone. It always requires that the element have a width defined to it. Otherwise, it's not going to have anything to work against, So if you want to align something like a div container to the center of the page, there's really three CSS elements you need to do that. First, you need to define a width for that element, which we already had. And the second thing is, the second and third, I guess, I said three things, is you need to define a margin for the left, which is going to be auto, and a margin for the right, which is going to be auto. Now, obviously, what's interesting too is if we have the margin for the left to be auto, and we put margin right to be 10 pixels, just to give you an idea of what's going to happen. Now, this thing is always going to be 10 pixels away from the right, but this left margin is going to be auto. But that's not actually what we're going for. We want to make sure that both are auto and our container is perfectly centered.